Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, jenmons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in.
Aloha, my podcast family. Welcome back. This week, I thought I'd share with you 10 tips for healthy immune system. Now remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a licensed therapist, so please consult your doctor or therapist for any serious medical needs. The intention for this podcast episode is really just to share with you my 15 years of experience in holistic wellness through nutrition, detoxification, functional medicine, meditation, movement, yoga, herbal wellness, emotional empowerment, healing relationships, and just created a list to give you an overall guide map on how to live well. Throughout my personal journey and experience, I had 2 personal health crises, and I learned over the years that health was not just the physical body. It wasn't just about eating well and eating the right foods, but it meant having healthy relationships. It meant connection. It means taking time to rest. So today I invite you to join me in writing these down, or maybe creating your own list on what it takes for you to live well, to be well. What does living well mean to you? What does quality of life mean to you? Because when we have more energy, more quality of life because we feel well, we are more motivated, inspired, or more curious about actually doing the things that we're passionate about. We might have more courage to take that trip, to wear that dress, to create that program, to write that book, to take that job, to go on that date. And so that is why taking care of ourselves is so important, because it gives us space and energy to live the life that we want to live. And so holistic well-being isn't just about the food you put into your body. It's not just about exercise. It's actually very multi-layered and multi-dimensional even. So the first and most important, I believe, is to reduce stress. Doesn't matter how healthy you eat, how much you exercise, how happy you think you are in certain relationships, if you don't have a way to internally monitor the state of your nervous system, there's so many things happening there. We have the parasympathetic nervous system, we have the nervous system, we have the vagus nerve. All of these things are important to your well-being, and all of those things, being in balance or not, are triggered by stress. So it's one of the best things we can do for ourselves. Some of us reduce stress through movement, through exercise, other through venting, conversations, maybe others through meditation, through silence. Maybe some of us need a therapist or a coach to just be able to kind of dump all of our stress on, to ask for support. But most importantly, it doesn't matter how healthy you eat, how much you exercise, how much money you make. None of that matters as much as it does for you to bring awareness to how much stress am I holding on to in my body, in my life. Stress weakens the immune system. It lowers our capacity for compassion. It's really the enemy. So my invitation for you today is to get super clear on how much stress you're holding and where does it come from? Does it come from your job? From your marriage? From your kids? And ask yourself, what am I gaining by holding on to the stress? What is it changing? Get really clear with yourself. Like, how is it helping you? How is it serving you? You guys might remember that movie, The Croods, I think it was called. And the dad said, fear keeps you alive. Think about what is the stress, the fear, the anxiety, what is it really creating in your body? Are you able to even really digest and assimilate nutrients from food if your nervous system is not on track? No, you're not. So this is probably, at least in my opinion, I would say, from my experience, the number one health problem in America. Because if you're not stressed and overwhelmed, you're choosing to eat well. You're choosing to make time for exercise. You're choosing to make time for the things that matters. But most people are so busy and overwhelmed and stressed that they don't even make time to eat well or to exercise. So number one, reduce stress. Number two, connection. Connection helps to improve your immune response, your immune system. Let me give you an example. When a baby is born prematurely, there's something called kangaroo care. They are basically living in fight or flight. I was the mother of a daughter born 7 weeks early. And I learned about this kangaroo care and the response that their nervous system, their body had to being held. The healing happened much faster. So it's really important to have deep connections in your life, authentic connections, not just surface relationships. I'm talking about the kind where it's easy, or maybe sometimes it's challenging, but you get to just be who you are and you're still loved. You get to be who you are and you still love others. Having connection and support and deep healing relationships with people in your life is good for your well-being. Number 3, giving yourself permission to heal. Make time for healing. It's not always easy. It's not always necessary. It's a cycle. If you notice a pattern, if you notice you're welcoming the same type of unhealthy partner in your life, same unhealthy boyfriend, girlfriend, the same type of boss, if you have the same type of repetitive self-sabotaging behavior around your health and well-being, if you start something you can't finish, if you start to notice a pattern, this is the invitation for you to actually go into this if you want to transmute it. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening. And the thing with the body is we're not well when things are stagnant. So energetically, when we're stagnant in life, the life force energy in our body is stagnant too. And what does stagnation create in the body? Well, you can think of something like an energetic tumor. Stagnation just kind of gathers together and it doesn't know where to go. It doesn't know how to move. It needs freedom. So yes, my friends, there is a time and a place to actually go into what is uncomfortable, not to avoid it, not to project it, not to blame other people, but to actually say, yes, I'm willing to look at this. I'm willing to feel it, to heal it. I'm willing to get a coach, a therapist, support somebody. Why does this keep happening? I'm tired. I'm exhausted. This is a pattern. Do that, and you will quite possibly transcend your health to a level that you weren't even aware of before, because you're no longer holding on to toxicity. toxic thoughts, toxic energy, toxic relationships. You're not self-sabotaging. This is really important, and it's important for your well-being. Number 4, of course, is to eat right for you. Something that when I was trained at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in 2011, we referred to as bioindividuality. It's eating right for your body type, your blood type, your lifestyle, your genetics, your epigenetics. It's different for everybody. There is no one diet. There is no one type of food. There is no one supplement that works for everybody. It's not possible. If you look at animals in nature, they all eat differently because they're made differently. Some of them are vegetarian, some of them are fruitarian, some of them are carnivores because they eat based on what they need. And we should also do the same. Now, there are foods known to cause inflammation for many, many people. I would say that universally sugar does not really support anybody. It weakens the immune system, creates an environment for pathogens to survive and thrive, and candida. It just increases inflammation in the body. And so when you're eating right for your body type, hire some support to help you figure out what that is. Or take yourself through some type of awareness where you try things out. If you don't feel good when you eat them, maybe they're not the best foods for you. Everybody's body responds differently. If you get super tired or achy or stuffy nose after you eat certain foods, it might not be the best food for you. You may spiritually want to be a vegan, but your physical body might need to actually have more protein, animal protein. So it's really important for you to listen to your body. You have to connect to your body to do that. There are foods that knowingly reduce inflammation. Turmeric, garlic. There are foods that may cause inflammation for many people, not everyone, but we've all heard of them before. Gluten, dairy, eggs, nuts for some people. So really learning to eat right for your body type is so empowering, and having a healthy relationship with food too. Not restricting it, but just knowing and choosing from a place of what serves me and what doesn't. It'll give you energy. It will reduce inflammation. You will get sick less often if you can really figure out how to eat right for your body type. Number 5, rest. Rest is important. We live in a world where everything is a 24-hour clock, 12 months a year, 7 days a week. That's not really how nature created us to live. Nature is very cyclical. When you look at animals in the wild, they hibernate, they live very cyclically, they eat more at certain times, they have a mating time. They do all these things very cyclically. The moon has its own cycle. The earth has a cycle. The seasons have a cycle. Everything has a cycle except for humans who've created the 24-hour clock. So it's really important for us to just understand that we are natural beings trying to live in a world with time constraints, and that rest is important. Take rest when you need it. Try to get 8 hours of sleep at night. In Chinese medicine, there's this wheel that shows like which parts of the body, and I'll get that for you in the show notes, a link to it, but it shows you like which, if you're not sleeping well at night, which part of the body might be related to the hours that you're awake, which part of the body really is facilitating healing during that time. For example, the lungs might be at like 3 a.m. There's an emotion associated with the lungs, which could be grief. So just kind of understanding how our body and emotions respond cyclically to even just our sleep cycle. And so the sleep cycle is a really important part of your well-being. Trying to sleep at night. Now, I know some people, like my husband even, we have jobs where we are not able to sleep at night. And so for those people, really taking the extra time to get extra rest, giving your body the rest that it needs, especially with where you are in your life. You might notice that as you get older, it's harder to sleep in. Maybe it's harder to get good sleep. So maybe you need more sleep because your quality of sleep isn't as great as when you were younger, or maybe it's different. But taking time to rest, which might mean saying no to things. Saying no to other things and saying yes to rest. Number 6, joy and fun. Freedom of the heart. It's really something that we forget as we become adults. It's such a part of who we are as children. And I keep telling my children, don't be in any hurry to grow up and be a boring adult. Take things seriously. Like, don't take things seriously now. Have fun. But the truth is that we as adults, we can choose that too. We can choose to allow ourselves to be led by joy and fun. And it doesn't have to be anything outside of us. It can be very much in the moment. Just finding the joy in the moment, whatever it is. Give yourself permission to just be silly. Give yourself permission to choose from a place of joy. What lights you up? What makes you happy? Maybe it's putting on music and dancing. Maybe it's playing in the dirt and gardening. Maybe it's baking a cake or decorating cookies. Maybe it's skydiving or surfing or riding horses or playing soccer. Maybe it's telling jokes. Maybe it's playing games, watching movies, going to an amusement park. Anything that brings you joy and helps you to reconnect with your youth. Joy and fun have been so forgotten in this American culture. There are lots of people trying to bring it back to you. Find somebody, if you're really struggling with this, to navigate what your relationship is with joy. Maybe somebody told you that you were too annoying because you were too happy or something, or that it was unauthentic. Some of us are experiencing blocks with joy, so if you're experiencing this, find somebody to support you to understand what that is, because it's really good for your health. It's really good for your well-being to allow yourself to experience joy and fun and freedom. Next, explore, educate yourself, become curious about herbal wellness. Herbs are food and they're medicinal at the same time. There are so many amazing herbs out there that can support your well-being, whatever it is that you are struggling with. If you need a liver detox, if you've got anxiety, if you've got kidneys that are struggling to work, if you've even emotional well-being, there are herbs that can help with everything. And this is something that has also been forgotten, specifically in our country, but it is so much a part of ancient healing traditions. But plants can be medicinal. So find a naturopathic doctor or an herbalist that can support you with where you are. Now, I'm not going to share all of my favorite herbs on this show, but if there's something in particular that you're looking for, send me a message. Or if you're looking for a resource, you could quite possibly potentially replace all of your pharma and over-the-counter pharmaceuticals in your home with herbs. That's how powerful they are. But they don't have negative side effects. Unless you're on some type of prescription drug, you need to check things with your doctor just to make sure that they can be taken together. The challenging part with them is that most of them are not regulated by the FDA to be approved for medicinal use, so interactions between the two of them can sometimes be, they're unknown, so that can get a little complicated. So 100%, whatever you do, whatever resource you get to support you with in finding out more about herbal wellness, also check with your doctor. But herbs can be absolutely amazing. Just so amazing. They can be detoxing. They support your immune system. There's And you can just put them in your food. We're talking very basic basil, rosemary, sage, cilantro. All of those are everyday herbs, are super great for your immune system. And then you can get all the way into like ashwagandha and burdock and cat's claw and all kinds of other things. There's so many different levels, but start thinking about herbs and also adaptogens. Like, start welcoming in things to your diet beyond just the food on your table. Next is to maintain alkalinity in your body. So alkaline would be the opposite of acidic. Acidosis creates inflammation. Inflammation is the underlying cause of all disease. That was a quote that I learned from one of my teachers and mentors, Dr. Morse, from the International School of Detoxification. And it's important to stay alkaline. So if most of us are eating very acidic foods, white foods, coffee, every day, people are starting out with coffee. It's very acidic. Teas, processed foods, meats, dairy, all acidic. What is not acidic? Most greens. So just think about creating balance in your diet, welcoming more alkaline. What else is acidic? Stress. The cortisol in your body produces inflammation. So understanding that it's important to stay in balance. Drink alkaline water even. I mean, if you really want to take it to the next level, it's super important to have your water tested. Get some type of water filter that creates alkaline water in your home so that you can reduce acidity from the water you're drinking. Number 8, movement. Of course, super important. We talked about stagnation. Find some type of movement, even if it's just getting up every morning and doing a quick 10-minute routine, breath work, sit-ups, push-ups, walking your dog. Maybe you're going to the gym 3 times a week. Many of you know that as we continue to age, it is so much harder to get back into shape, and it takes so much longer than it did just 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And it's important. Got to keep that chi, that energy moving through your body because we don't want stagnation. Stagnation and acidosis and inflammation create severe discomfort, dis-ease. It creates a breeding ground for pathogens and candida and viruses and all kinds of stuff that we don't want. So keep the body moving, flushing it, detoxing it, drinking water, but also exercising. Number 10, I'm sorry, that was number 9. The last one, I think I said it was 8. Number 10, know God. This probably should have been number 1, but I kept it for the most important. What I have witnessed over 15 years of working with people is if someone still really feels out of balance, if they are still really unhealthy, meaning they don't feel well, they're tired all the time, they're exhausted, they're eating the right foods, they have healthy relationships, they have money that they need to support themselves, but they just don't feel right. They feel disconnected. They've forgotten where they came from. And so really this number 10 should be number 1. It's all about your connection to God, your connection to Source, who you were created from, remembering that you're created from love, that you have never, ever been separate. You've never been separate. When we perceive that we're separate, I like to call that the fall from grace. Then our head starts spinning, our body starts hurting, we think we have to control everything. We think we have to do this, that, the to-do list. I've got to accomplish this and do this, and this is not okay, and this is okay, and there's not enough, there's scarcity. And if you just take a deep breath and just remember, seriously, honestly, authentically, remember that you were created from love. Know God. Take time to pray. Take time to meditate. Take time to journal. The mornings are the best. In the yoga tradition, the yogini has a practice of morning reflection, either through yoga or journaling, prayer, meditation. We've just spent the whole night resting. We're open to receiving. We're clear. Take that time for yourself. Find somebody to take you back on that path. You are not alone. If you don't align with this, you're either struggling to remember this, find somebody to support you, spend some time in reflection. Where do these beliefs come from? Or just know that there is somebody that supports your beliefs and your values. But after 15 years of coaching, health coaching, life coaching, emotional empowerment, yoga coaching, fitness coaching, all of that, the very final layer that I have come to is that people do not know and trust God. And because of that, that's a lot of responsibility. That's like, I have to take care of everything, and I have to do this and this. And no, you don't. You can trust. You can trust that God will bring you the people that you need to support you when you need to. You can trust that sometimes He's ready to take people home before you're ready to, and it's okay. You can trust in your body. You can trust that you are loved, that you deserve to have everything you need. So thank you so much for listening in. I'd love to know which one resonates with you the most. Sending you all lots of love. I hope you all have a fantastic and wonderful day. Aloha.
The content of this podcast is to educate, inspire, and inform you of pathways to an embodied healing self. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice from your medical doctor, therapist, registered dietitian, or nutritionist for any questions you may have regarding your diagnosis or condition. Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Jen Mons or The Holistic Coach with the W Holistic and Jen Mons, JenMons.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.